Since Clash Royale's release, there's been a total of 119 cards, and a couple cards have become loved by everyone. But for every loved card, there's a card that's hated even more, and makes you want to... So we will go over each, starting with one of the most loved cards by the Clash community, the Dark Prince. The Dark Prince galloped into Clash Royale in March of 2016 as a 4 elixir epic with a shielded charge and a splash damage attack. Unlike the single target Prince, he was built to support pushes by clearing swarms while soaking up spells with his shield. Early on, he was overshadowed by heavier tanks like the P.E.K.K.A, but his versatility was shown in cycle decks with cards like Goblin Barrel or Miner. A June 2018 buff increased his charge damage, making him a huge part of the meta in 2018 and 2019, especially in bait decks. Supercell then tweaked his attack speed in April of 2020, letting him swing even faster and cementing his role as a flexible mini-tank. In 2021, a minor buff to his charge distance helped him close gaps even quicker, boosting his use even higher in Royal Hog decks. Pros like Surgical Goblin and Azilis leaned on Dark Prince during the 2020 and 2023 Clash Royale leagues, showcasing his ability to handle swarms while enabling aggressive pushes. The community loves him for his balance kit. He's not oppressive but rewards a smart play. Whether defending against skeleton armies or supporting a minor push, X-Posts from 2022 all the way through 2024 have praised his synergy with cards like Poison, calling him the ultimate support card. And his shield and splash damage make him a reliable pick across many deck archetypes, and his Knightly Charm doesn't hurt either. In 2024's Royale tournament, Dark Prince was a standout in hybrid decks, proving he's still got that fan favorite spark. Now, unlike the love the community gives to the Dark Prince, the Firecracker has gotten quite the opposite. Now, the Firecracker was added into Clash Royale in January of 2020 as a 3 elixir common card with the unique mechanic, a long-range splash damage projectile that pushes her back with each shot, and she was pitched as a dynamic support unit, perfect for kiting melee troops like E-Barbs while chipping at towers. And on release, players loved her flair, but quickly realized that her splash damage could hit crown towers from an extremely safe distance, making her a very easy card to use and extremely low risk, high reward. She slotted perfectly into Royal Giant and Hog Rider decks, dominating early 2020 ladder matches, making her a total nightmare. Supercell responded with a March 2020 nerf, tightening her splash damage radius to reduce accidental tower hits, but she still frustrated players with her ability to kite tanks and clear swarms like Skeleton Army and Minion Horde with ease. By June of 2021, another nerf slightly reduced her damage to tone down her synergy with tank-heavy decks, but she still remained a staple in cycle decks. In 2022, a minor buff to her attack speed tried to keep her competitive, but the community wasn't having it. Her chip damage and kiting potential kept her on the most hated list, and pros like Anaban leaned into using her in various different decks during the 2020 Clash Royale League, using her in defensive setups that controlled the match tempo, which only fueled the rage. Social media posts on Twitter from 2020 through 2023 shows players calling her the most annoying card of all time for her ability to punish sloppy plays while staying safe behind a tank. Even in 2025, Firecracker's presence in mid-ladder and challenge decks continues to drive players crazy, and her low elixir cost, long range, and ability to hit multiple troops make her feel incredibly unfair and low skill, especially when you're the one getting chip damage from across the arena. It's no surprise she's still one of the most complained about cards in the entire game, unlike our third card, the Ice Spirit, which is only a 1 elixir common and has become a beloved staple since Clash Royale's launch in 2016. Now, this tiny snowball freezes enemies for a brief moment, stalling pushes or resetting attackers like Sparky or Inferno Dragon, for minimal elixir though. Its low cost made it a cornerstone of cycle decks like the 2.6 Hog cycle, which dominated from 2016 to 2018. But a 2017 September nerf shortened its freeze duration to balance its absurd value for only 1 elixir, but it barely dented its popularity. In 2019, Supercell buffed its splash radius, letting it freeze more units at once, which made it a go-to for countering minion horde or goblin gang. And the Ice Spirit's versatility shined through in the 2020 Clash Royale League, where players like Morton used it to cycle key cards while disrupting opponents' tempo. A 2022 buff to its freeze consistency fixed some buggy interactions, keeping it a meta-relevant card. And players just love the Ice Spirit for its unmatched elixir efficiency. You can use it in a cycle deck, stall a prince charge, or buy time for your tower, all for the cost of one elixir. And almost every post on social media about the Ice Spirit is positive and basically calls it the best 1 elixir card ever added to Clash Royale, with fans praising its simplicity and impact. Whether an Expo control or balloon beatdown, the Ice Spirit's ability to fit into any deck and its adorable design make it a community treasure. Unlike this next card, which many players consider to be the most hated card in Clash Royale ever. Now, we have the infamous Expo, a 6 elixir card that's been dividing the community for ages, ever since the game's release back in January of 2016. Now, this siege weapon locks onto towers and buildings from across the map, unloading a relentless stream of bolts that shred anything in its path if not countered. And in its early days, the Expo defined the siege archetype, pairing with defensive buildings like Tesla or Cannon, to create turtle decks that dominated the 2016 meta. Players like Surgical Goblin often used the Expo to climb ladders, frustrating his opponents with its slow, painful playstyle. And Supercell eventually nerfed it in its lifetime during August of 2016, cutting how long it could stay on the field, aiming to weaken its defensive setups. Then, in 2018, a small damage tweak aimed to tone down the Expo's synergy with fast cycle cards like Archers and Ice Spirits, but the deck didn't go anywhere, and Expo players simply adapted, and the archetype remained strong. By 2019, it began to fall out of favor as heavy beatdown decks like the Golem and Lavaloon took over the meta, but just when it seemed like Expo was slowly fading away from the meta, a 2020 buff to its attack speed brought it roaring back into relevance, and pros like Mohamed Light began dominating with it in the Clash Royale League, proving just how powerful and frustrating it could still be. So why is the Expo so hated? Well, it forces you to play completely on defense, and if you don't respond instantly and correctly, you will have to painfully watch your tower's health melt away, and it controls the entire tempo of the match, making it feel more like a game of survival than any game of strategy. And between 2021 and 2025, Twitter and Reddit have been flooded by Clash Royale players with complaints calling it the most boring card to face and a win condition that turns every match into a patience test. Now, even after a 2023 balance update that slightly reduced its range to make it easier to pressure, the Expo still thrives, especially in mid-ladder, where it's paired with cheap, frustrating defensive cards like the Tesla and Ice Spirit to stall out opponents. It's a card that'll never truly go away, and for many players, that's the exact problem. Now, unlike an annoying building and tower card that just locks onto your tower, imagine a fan favorite spell that's used in almost every single iconic deck. You're probably thinking of the Log, and that's what we chose as the 3rd most loved card in Clash Royale history. Now, the Log is a 2 elixir legendary, and it rolled into Clash Royale in September 2016, and it's been a fan favorite ever since. This ground-based spell deals splash damage and knocks back troops, and travels a very long distance, making it ideal for clearing swarms or resetting charging units like Battle Ram. On its release, it felt lackluster with the shorter range and weaker damage, so it wasn't greatly used, but a March 2017 buff extended its roll distance, turning it into a must-have for bait and cycle decks, which ran rampant at the time. A 2018 tweak improved its knockback even more and made it much more consistent, making it a hard counter to Goblin Barrel and Princess. Then, in May 2020, Supercell nerfed its tower damage to curb its chip potential in spell cycle decks, but it remained a staple across many deck archetypes. Pros like Pompeo and Lucas X Gamer dominated with the log in 2022 Clash Royale League, using it to clear paths for the Hog Rider or reset Sparky. A 2023 buff slightly increased its damage against troops, reinforcing its role in countering swarm-heavy metas. And while it does all these great things, the community adores the log for its satisfying animation, versatility, and ability to turn games around. Whether it's stopping a skeleton army or finishing a low health tower, Twitter posts from 2021 through 2024 call its rolling sound iconic, with players sharing countless clips of clutch log plays and great moments surrounding the card. From bait to beatdown, the log's universal appeal and clean design make it a card that absolutely everyone loves to play. And just like the log, everyone loves to play this next card, but nobody likes to play against it. We finally got to the most hated card in all of Clash Royale, the Mega Knight. Now, since crashing into the arena in September of 2017, this 7 elixir legendary has become infamous for its overwhelming presence, especially in mid-ladder, becoming a mid-ladder menace, with a massive spawn splash and a leaping slam attack that crushes entire pushes. Mega Knight quickly earned a reputation as a no-skill safety net for struggling players. Designed to counter swarm-heavy metas, he could wipe out a goblin barrel or bandit push with one drop, then counter push with terrifying force. On release, he dominated ladder and challenges with his splash damage, making short work of mid-ladder staples like Wizard and Witch. Supercell nerfed his spawn and jump damage by 25% in February of 2018 after complaints about his overwhelming presence, but he stayed known as a mid-ladder threat. A 2020 buff then improved his survivability, solidifying his role in decks with Inferno Dragons or Electro Wizards. Then in 2021, another tweak reduced his first attack delay, making him even scarier on offense. And the community despises Mega Knight for his low skill, high impact playstyle. Players can simply just drop him, rely on him, and watch him crush everything in its way, and then on top of it, start up a counter push with ease. During the 2018 Clash Royale Crown Championship, pros like Diego B used him to shut down many swarm decks, which amplified the hate as players felt he required very little strategy. Twitter posts during this time show players ranting about his ability to swing games single-handedly, especially in lower arenas where countering him feels borderline impossible, without specific cards like Mini P.E.K.K.A. or some extremely strong tank. Even after a 2024 nerf to his spawn damage, Mega Knight remains a symbol of mid-ladder chaos, loved by those who play him and hated by everyone he goes against.